do it. And before we talk about that, this is a fun kind of big crew we got going on. So I want to give everyone a chance to give some introductions, talk about what they're doing here with the Agents of Fandom. So Jaden, let's start with you.
Well, as you guys know, I'm the director of video content, so I've been real busy with that. I literally got 3 YouTube videos recorded today, so that's a lot of fun. Miss Marvel has me beyond hyped. As you know, I'm on TikTok. Probably gonna get some reels up soon, some shorts up soon. So yeah, just keep a lookout for them.
Heck yes, and we've started up this podcast together lately. Ticket to Reality. Tell us what's it about, and also what else you can find of yours up at agentsofandom.com.
Ticket to Reality is all things about reality TV. I supposedly should be a little bit of an expert. I'm a huge fan of reality television and shows, and so we're talking about Big Brother and The Bachelor, The Circle, whatever's on. We're going to talk about it. So we've got a great fun. We've had a lot of fun talking about it, and then I'm also writing some articles about reality TV, which I will probably morph into. I was actually had a little idea doing my own little reality show with all superheroes from Marvel, and just a kind of a fan fiction thing that I might write. I was thinking about it, so we'll see.
Okay, I like
I
that.
like I like the sound of that.
And we this isn't the first time we've had you on the pod, and it's a fun collaboration we're excited about. We got Emma in the chat as well, who is of course another co-host of the Ticket to Reality pod, and you can find that just like Agents of Fandom on our YouTube page and anywhere you get your podcast. So make sure you like these videos, you follow, you subscribe, rate us 5 stars, write a nice little review for Ticket to Reality. And I mean, hey, we'll do this for Agents of Fandom too. You write, leave a 5 star rating and write us a question in the review, and we will answer it here on the podcast as well. But without further ado, let's get into some Ms. Marvel. This is my favorite Disney Plus show we've seen. Star Wars, Marvel, all of them. I absolutely adored it. Garrett, I'm thankful this morning you warned me. You were like, "Hey, stay off social media. It's a big episode." Um, and you're gonna want to go in without being spoiled. And he'd tell me about it. He's like, the whole last 20 minutes, I was bouncing back and forth between crying and yelling, and it was the exact same thing for me. I had tears, I had shivers, I yelled. Garrett, I know Moon Knight is pretty firm atop your list, but is Ms. Marvel getting close to edging it out?
Yeah, if there was going to be like I don't want to say I've firmly set a number one at this point because I'm still like digesting Miss Marvel. So before Miss Marvel, Moon Knight moved to my number one, and this would definitely be the closest to knocking it off if it does so. Um, Moon Knight has some really awesome acting and some really cool action stuff. Awesome historical Egyptian stuff. I love that. But Miss Marvel has heart and emotion and family bleeding into every conversation. The ending of this, like TJ said, I told him the raw, authentic watch with no like spoilage is such a beautiful thing because the emotions it's literally a roller coaster of a ride, and they pulled it off incredibly. I loved this episode. Probably my favorite finale. I'll say that at the very least.
Oh, 100%.
I agree with you. It was a great balance of action and heart. Lee, what did you think of the Ms. Marvel series as a whole and this finale episode?
I I'm with UT. It's my number one of all the series. And I love Moon Knight, but uh, I love Loki, but I loved it so much. I think the main thing that I learned some history. I mean, I guess I'm not that smart. I didn't realize about the partition and about all the things that Muslim Indians had to face. And so not only was I crying through many episodes, especially the last one, but I learned some things, and I thought it was wonderful. I love that it's multi generational. Yeah, are we spoiling are we spoiling things on
We can
I'm just making sure.
we can get into spoilers here on Ms. Marvel, which thankfully we might as well say now we're gonna keep the spoilers locked for Thor: Love and Thunder. We're not gonna mention that at all. Lee hasn't seen it yet. We have, of course, friends in the chat in our Twitch chat here who haven't seen it yet. So we are going to hold firm for that and just talk some Ms. Marvel and dive into spoilers. I see Bree, my beloved, going off in the chat right now. So yeah, people, we're ready to dive into spoilers for this one. And I know we saw. I'm not sure if he's with us today. He is. I see him in the chat right now. Ryan_reflects is his Twitter. It's his Twitter handle as well. He had just a amazing theory today in the Phase Zero Twitch chat. And I just loved it. And so we'll talk about that when we get to it as well. Jaden, you recorded 3 YouTube videos on Ms. Marvel today. Give us a little taste.
So I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. This is definitely my number one MCU Disney Plus series, and that's coming from a major Oscar Isaac stan. So yeah, this was an amazing show, an amazing finale. It literally, I felt every possible emotion you can think of. But yeah, no, it was great. I had a lot of fun watching it for the last 6 weeks. Definitely a lot of representation, as we here love to kind of incorporate. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
The representation in this episode and the series as a whole, but the way it came together in this episode, it was unbelievable. And Lee, you brought up a good point as well about learning new things when we had our interview with Anjali Bhamani and Auntie Ruby, who had some great one-liners in this episode with her TikTok. She brought that up, and that's one of the best parts about this show is not only, not to minimize it because it's incredible as well, but not only the representation on screen and in the writer's room, etc., but we get to learn something new. Like, this isn't something that you're typically going to get in the American education system, the Canadian education system, but we get this window into the past here, into history, and we get a chance to, if we want to learn more, we now get to look into that and learn more. So that's kind of incredible how that happens.
Yeah, and I want to just say too, last week I said, based on, the ending of the last episode and what we thought this episode was going to be, I said it's either going to be really lame or it's going to be crazy. And it was crazy. Like, they did a fantastic job.
They really did. They really did. And I think it's time we can start going through the full spoilers now. The first thing I want to touch on before we get into theories and Easter eggs is just more the familial themes and how they came together in this episode, because that was obviously a huge part throughout. And I loved the tie-ups they did down from when her mom said, we trust her. Like, when her dad was the one worrying, and at the beginning in the first episode, her dad was saying, like, we trust you, we trust her. And the mom was going, oh, I don't know if we do. And that kind of swapped here as the dad was worried, and the mom said, no, like, we trust you. And the whole family was involved. And I'm going to be doing a lot of bragging this episode. If you've been listening to the Agents of Fandom podcast, you've been hearing my theories, and we kind of knocked it out of the park here. And with the first one being that the mosque would be a big part of this episode, getting involved, supporting Kamala, supporting Nakia, supporting Kamran, and they really did so, and they stepped up. They were clutch. Garrett, what did you think of the familial involvement and the community involvement in this episode?
Oh, well, as I've said a million times, the one-on-one aspects, the character relationships, that is where this series is the strongest. So seeing the entire like supporting cast get together and like back them up was amazing to see. I loved that. I loved all my Auntie Ruby that was in there, the Sheik, Amir. It was incredible. This has to have the strongest supporting cast of like any series that they've had by far.
I agree with you. It's just been incredible. Some of these series have had very, very strong supporting characters, like people that come to my mind are, of course, Mobius, and when we just got in Moon Knight, May
Layla.
Kalamari. Layla, exactly. Thank you. How can I forget a name that we have on our own Agents of Fandom? But everyone knows here I'm terrible with names, so that's all right. Lee, what did you think about the familial aspect of this show and how it all got tied together at the end?
I love every part of it. One of my favorite scenes was when the Aman said, "You need disguises," and gave them both hats. And I was just like, because I laughed, and then I also, if I was touched, I was like, he's in, he's helping, and so I love every little moment, because it felt real and authentic, and yeah, I love. And then when they're all surrounding her, to make sure that you know they that she's protected, they encircle her. I was just like, oh my gosh, I was just into it. I thought I'd be in there, I'd link arms too.
Oh heck yeah, I'd give my
It,
life.
yeah, exactly. It was so incredible, and one of my favorite characters from the show, Nakia. I just thought that was a beautiful moment they had in the high school between Kamala and her, when obviously, like, when shit starts going down, when shit hits the fan, they just like, it's friendship first, it's family first, and like they'll put their, that conversation will happen later. They know they love each other, and it's time to work together. Jaden, what did you think of this aspect of the show?
So for that, my biggest thing was I noticed a shift in her demeanor. So like she almost seemed to, once she found that support, once she was able to kind of spread that truth with her family and like kind of relieve herself from all the stuff that she's been going through, her whole demeanor changed and she felt almost more powerful. She felt more in control, and that was really cool to see. She really, entered her girl boss moment. So, that was a lot of fun to see. She really came into her own on that.
And you brought up how she kind of leveled up with her powers. We got some big words said in this episode, and one of them we're going to touch on more later, of course. But the one that, to be honest with you, I enjoyed the most was we finally got Kamala saying "embiggen," straight from the comic book pages, straight from the cartoon, straight from the video games. And even though Kamala Khan may not be an Inhuman, even though Kamala Khan may not have the same stretchy powers, she has she has all the things she needs to have about the character correct. They got right, and it was so incredible to see that just full level up in her powers, the stretchy legs, the big fists, the embiggen. Garrett, what did you think of kind of our Scarlet Witch moment, our Sam with his costume moment that we got in the finale here?
The only thing I kept thinking was that I'm pretty sure at one point before, like when we were primering and or still the marketing was happening for Miss Marvel, you said like if nothing else happens and she just says "embiggen" like once, like it'll be a success for me. Or something along those lines. I don't want to put the words verbatim into your mouth, but something along those lines. And so I was like, they said it. TJ's gonna be so happy. And also, I kept thinking throughout the whole episode, oh no, he called this. He called this. He called this. This is gonna be a big bragging day. But I could not wait to talk to you about it. I texted you, have you watched it yet? And it was hard for me not to say, you called so many things.
And another one that was kind of part of that was Zoe coming back to help the squad, because Zoe is in comics, she's almost part of the crew. She started off as a bully and she eventually became friends with them. And so that kind of made sense with her comic arc. And the other arc with Zoe that we got hints of in this episode, when Nakia asked her, why it's not like you. If you knew it was Kamala, why didn't you tell people? Like, that's kind of not like you to keep that to yourself. And she said, well, Kamala saved my life. And, I think if it's her call when she wants to tell people. That's not my decision when she wants to tell people. And a part of the comics is Zoe really likes Nakia. Zoe has a big old crush on Nakia. And I think that was a bit of a a bit of a tease to the future of, yeah, she has some things that she herself maybe isn't ready to share with the world yet, but wants to one day, kind of just like Kamala does. Lee, did you sense those vibes as well? Were you aware of that comic arc?
I'm not aware of the comic arc, but I did feel some chemistry between them. So it's good that you're kind of validating what I was sensing. Because
Bad she's taken now, guys, right?
What was that, sorry? Oh yeah, with who?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the boyfriend. Sorry, you're on mute.
Toss me.
I think you the unmute clicked in a little late, and so we only got the second half of that.
My fault,
so
fault.
it took a while to kind of clue in, but yeah, the boyfriend for Nakia, that was a random little twist that I didn't know what to do with, how real that was, how fake that was. That was pretty funny.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was muted. I thought you guys just made me walk the plank.
No, it was loud, and I heard taken, and I was like, all right, I need a minute to parse through this. I can get it.
We're on the same.
But yeah, Lee, so you had the same thoughts, and they definitely, I think they are valid, because we got to see the Kamran, Bruno, Kareem love triangle square with Kamala, and I guess now we get to see the Nakia Zoe potential fake boyfriend love triangle.
Maybe, but there definitely felt like there was chemistry between both of them, and I did like the arc that I'm seeing. It's like you said, even the secondary characters or the supporting characters all have character arcs. They're all growing and changing, instead of sometimes that in some of these series they're kind of the same. They're sort of two-dimensional. They don't move a lot. But I saw all of them, even Kamala's brother, he's doing the baseball thing, and he's totally behind sister. I love it all.
That moment when you brought up the brother, it reminded me of it. But that moment when she's trying to announce it to everyone, and it just goes on to the classic family conversation of just like, speaker's so convenient. Like, why wouldn't I use it? And no, speaker's the problem. I just thought that was absolutely fantastic. Jaden, you are the closest one of us removed from high school. You're the most recently removed from high school. What did you think of the kind of classic trope of let's go to the spot that we know and use our school to our advantage kind of action set piece we got in the finale?
I thought that whole sequence was so much fun. Like it. So one of the things that I talked about in my review was the fact that it doesn't matter what kind of dire situation they were facing. She never lost sight of who she was. And no matter what she was doing, her personality was the brightest thing that you can sense. So her going through her plan with all her little drawings, and it was just so much fun to see how that all kind of played out. And the fact that it was at her school was just one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Incredible.
Gave me like Community vibes when they have the big like paintball episodes.
Yeah.
Like I love that. I love the like softballs that you see them like chucking the balls into the self pitch machines. Great.
Little like Community, little breakfast club of just like band of misfits getting together. Zoe joining the squad. Nobody expected like that. Kamran there. Him and Bruno have the unlikely friendship kind of. And another ping point for TJ. Kamran joining on with the Red Daggers, heading for some lunch with Kareem. We obviously know in the comics, Kamran, bit of a D-bag. We don't really like comic Kamran. He's a bad guy. And I thought, the MCU likes to do things differently. Maybe Kamran's going to be a Red Dagger. And it seems as though that could potentially be what's happening here. And another thing that we weren't sure of how they were going to handle, we talked a lot about it on the pod, is Kamala's Inhuman status. And while I absolutely did not predict the thing we've been dancing around all episode, a mutation, Kamala, there's a mutation in your DNA that our man Bruno is analyzing. I didn't see that coming, but we kind of did get the retcon of they're doing things differently in the MCU. Things aren't going. It may not be an Inhuman. It may be parts of the Inhuman story, parts of other stories, and they're kind of going to make something new. Garrett, it seems as though the Inhuman ship with Kamala specifically may have sailed. A lot of us really thought Bruno might be saying there's just something inhuman about your genes, but he gave the mutation M word instead. The M word we've all been waiting for in the MCU. What do you think?
Not only did he say the M word, but they gave a nice little right in the background, and it was, whoo! That was one of the moments I stopped crying to scream. I will take the Inhuman L though. I will admit that. I'll take the Inhuman L, but happily for Kamala Khan being the first mutant in the MCU. Crazy.
The first mutant in the MCU confirmed that we know of, and something that's so great about this too. And shout out to our man AF, former guest of the pod. He brought this kind of to my attention, and I think it's a great point that even if Kamala isn't going to be an X-Men, the mutant, what part of the things that made mutants and the X-Men so popular was they were born in the civil rights movement and the fight for justice and the fight for equality. And it's cool, quite cool with the lack of Muslim representation that we've got in pop culture, superhero shows, whatever, and in media in the Western part of the world here in Canada and the States. It's so often portrayed negatively to us to fit an agenda. And it was the opposite in this one. It was peace and equality and friendship and family and community. And now Kamala Khan, the first Pakistani superhero, one of the faces of representation, is going to be the first mutant in the MCU here. I think it's quite poetic. Lee, were you an X-Men fan growing up? And what do you think of Kamala Khan being a mutant?
The first question, yes. Being a gay when and we had to be secretive, and we were different. That the mutants, I'm telling you, they spoke to me a lot when I was that age, because I so related to the oppression and all those kind of things. It was my story, but I got to see things that felt similar, and they rose up and worked it through. So that meant a lot to me. So when you're talking about this being sort of a civil rights, being able to talk about people that are being pushed down and able to tell a story of a superhero that is underrepresented, and I'm telling you, I cried just like well, of course I cried a lot through the whole series, because I was so excited to see this in such a positive light, not the typical, hey, this is always going to fit in this mold. Every time we talk about Muslim American, it's going to be fit in this mold. So I'm so happy that this is happening. And I got goosebumps when they were revealing that, because I was thinking, are they going to say it? Are they going to? And they said it. And I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm excited about it, that she's part of that. And I want to see that storyline really fleshed out for me. And it's all about me. So what I want.
Of course.
Oh, that's fantastic. Jaden, what did you think about Kamala being introduced to the mutant family?
So my initial thought was, for the last 6 weeks, there's been a mutant in the MCU and we had no idea. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, no, it was really cool to see it all kind of made sense once that was officially in our faces, like how the damage control was so down bad on getting these two superpowered kids in their custody. It was so weird. Like, why are they so, like, it's not that serious. But now understanding, okay, this could be the start of, the typical mutant uprising where, they're having issues with people thinking they're different and, not really liking them and stuff like that. So I thought it was really cool. It was really fun, really unexpected. but a fun surprise nonetheless.
And the damage control drones, they really, really seem to pick up on Kamala's location and Kamran's location pretty quick, as if they almost had some type of sensors in them. Garrett, could damage control and their drones be the early debut of the Sentinel project?
I had never thought about that until you brought it up to me in a text today, and then it's been germinating in my brain for a while, and I think that that's probably a very smart way to integrate that, because obviously we know they're on the hunt for powered people. They're looking out. They got some questions. They got some drones. So yeah, I think the drones could be an early form that upgrades into some Sentinel in the future. I don't know. I think that's a crazy idea.
And I think Kamala's line of whatever, that's just going to be another label, I think that was a testament to the mutant battle for equality. And I don't think Kamala is going to be a member of the X-Men. I think she is going to be her kind of her own character. And if she's going to be tied to a team, it'll be Young Avengers, Champions Avengers, as opposed to X-Men. But it is really incredible the potential ties that this could have to the future of the mutant story in the MCU. And I think the ones hunting her, of course, Agent Reaver, it they just kind of went out of their way to just like give her some offside racist remarks every episode that like she could kind of pull back and then as if that she was saying the wrong things, like why do they keep giving the wrong people powers? What do you mean, kids? And just the way she was entering the mosque, etc. It would fit the um, hateful nature of people going against mutants, but I also think it did a good job as well of kind of adding some realism to the aspect of representation, that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's fantastic that we're getting these stories, but there's a lot of people out there who just suck. And it's incredible that we started out with Black Panther, through Shang-Chi, through now onto Disney Plus here with Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight, and even like we got Echo coming up here. We're getting all different areas kind of checked off, and representation that we have not seen on screen before in superhero projects before, and it's pretty awesome.
I got to shout out Brandon in the chat saying it was so fitting that the racist Karen was the real big bad of the series.
Absolutely, absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. And that was another thing that we talked about on the pod earlier, that the way they brought damage control down was they went to social media. They brought everybody else involved, and we saw a bunch of different TikToks on there that were really cool. The kid who stole the shoes from the first episode or second episode, and then was hanging that Kamala dropped. He got his little 2 cents in there. We got Auntie Ruby giving her 2 cents on there, and Anjali is just so incredible. And we're going to be hopefully talking to her again here in the future about the series. As well as another person I interacted today with online. He was a guest on Phase Zero today. Neebs, he was just an absolutely incredible guest. He spoke about Ms. Marvel and Muslim representation with such passion and knowledge, and he was just one of the most incredible guests I have ever heard on a podcast. So we're working on something with him to get him back on for a pod next week as well. Talk some Ms. Marvel, talk She-Hulk, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Ms. Marvel will return in the Marvels, and there's two very exciting things about that statement. First off, the name Ms. Marvel, how she got it, the Kamala, the Kamal meaning Marvel in Urdu, and it meaning like perfect in Arabic. That was such a cool tie-in to her name that is a comic retcon, in terms of they didn't acknowledge that in comics, but it's fully accurate and real. That was just so incredible that they got that. Lee, was that another one of the scenes that had you in tears?
Yes, yes, of course. When Dad comes out and explains why, that they've been calling her Miss Marvel and why, and I was like, oh my, and she was still, she was still struggling. What name should I have? And then Dad just says, "Here it is. This is who you've been the whole time to us."
I'm named after Carol freaking
I
Danvers.
know. That was yeah. I laughed and cried at the same time. I absolutely loved it when she leaned in her head and gave Dad a hug. I had to actually, because I cried enough. I gotta back this up again and watch it again.
Me too. I had to have like windshield wipers on my. I was
Garrett,
sobbing.
we nailed that the family was going to be involved with her costume and getting that created, but the name one was out of left field, and I love the twist.
Yeah, I did not expect that. Or I mean, it's another, like Lee said earlier. I also learned a ton from this show, and that's just another aspect of it. And what an amazing culture, and how they were able to bake that into every single part of the show. It goes back to, again, the care that's been put in by everyone involved, and it shows, and that's why this series feels so much stronger than all the other great series that we've already gotten.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And Jaden, we laughed and we cried this episode. We screamed as well. Did you scream when Brie Larson, Carol Danvers port keyed into Kamala Khan's room and looked around at the posters in a post-credit scene that seemed to come potentially right out of the Marvels? What did you think?
So for that, for the post credit scene itself, I was more so waiting for like the Caltech theory that Damon put up a while ago, but it was an expected post credit, expected cameo with an unexpected twist to it, a literal twist. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it happened. I have a little idea, but yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. That was really cool. It was to
Gonna
see
drop
her.
the idea. You're just gonna say I have an idea, and then just
Yeah,
keep
no,
trudging on. And
okay. I'll be quick about it. I'll be quick about it though. So we know that Carol Danvers is typically in space for most of the time doing her space things, and we know that she could potentially be looking for the origins or the whatnots of the 10 rings. And so I'm thinking that maybe she stumbled upon the second Bengal potentially, and that triggered some kind of whatever, and that's why they like swapped places. Again, that was a very quick iteration of it, but potentially that could maybe be what happened. But that was really cool. I enjoyed that.
And Jaden, this is very similar to same theory that Ryan reflects throughout there earlier in the Phase Zero chat that I just fell in love with. That tease we got of the 10 rings in the flashback episode with the Bengal, that wasn't put there for no reason. Like there was no apparent reason for them to drop that 10 ring symbol behind the location where they were looking for the Bengal. There was no reason for that we saw in the show. So it's reasonable to theorize that there's a reason coming for that in the future, that maybe Carol Danvers was researching the 10 rings. We saw, of course, she was looking into it after in the Shang-Chi post-credit scene. And maybe that's how she got swapped with Kamala there. Lee,
And
what
for
do you
that,
think of this
wasn't
theory?
go ahead. No, the 10 rings, I do believe, I could be wrong about this, correct me if I am, that the 10 rings was giving off some sort of beacon.
correct.
Yes,
So
exactly.
in that aspect, maybe the second Bengal is doing the same sort of thing, and she thought she was following the beacon for the 10 rings, but instead was following it for the second Bengal, and then it happened.
Yeah, I agree completely. Lee, what do you think of this theory?
Yeah, I think there's definitely they don't do things just to throw it out. Oh, we'll just put this here. This is going to we're going to see this play out, because I think the 10 rings. I think Jaden's probably right. I think that Bengal was putting off some sort of emitting something that caused that to happen. And yeah, I want to see. I can't wait to see what happens with the Marvels in the future, and when they're, what I love about this Origins series the most is Kamala was a fan of superheroes. So it's so easy to put myself in her place and say, I'm a big fan. Wow, what would happen if I got a bangle and my family. So yeah. But I do think your theory has a lot of merit. I really do. And you've been so right on so many other things. So I'm not going to go against you, TJ. I'm not betting against you on this one.
The Marvels is very quickly jumping to the top of my list for things that are coming in 2023. Quantum Mania is, of course, giving us Kang the Conqueror, which is wildly exciting. On the note of Ant-Man Quantumania and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, there are leaks and spoilers of potential plots and things like that going around all over the internet right now. Don't be a person who spreads that stuff around. Keep that stuff locked, and hopefully you can do your best to avoid. If you know what's out there, you may have a better chance avoiding it. I feel like things like Reddit and the dark corners of the internet are where it's mostly been right now, but you get a stray every now and then on the Twitter feed as well.
I saw a pretty fat leak on the Twitter feed today. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Like
saw
all over the timeline. I'm not gonna say it, but like ridiculously big, disgustingly big. I can't even. One of the biggest we've ever seen, maybe.
Dang! Oh, that is just incredibly.
Ruben just texted to me. I love that. Ruben cracks me up, man.
That's the one thing we can always count on with Ruben is, as everyone knows, this man stays behind the scenes. So we don't got to worry about Ruben spreading stuff because we barely get to talk to Ruben as much as we'd enjoy to, as much as we want to. So that's never a worry with our man there. Final thoughts on Ms. Marvel before we get out of here. Garrett, give it to me.
What a powerful show. I know how I felt watching it, and so I can't even begin to put myself in the shoes of people that this was relevant for. Pakistani Americans, Indian Americans, Muslim Americans, Muslims, Pakistanis, not
Not
the list
America.
goes
Yeah,
on.
exactly,
Yeah, exactly. The list goes on. Anyone who felt like they didn't necessarily fit in and then found their path. There's a lot of great messages to find in this series. It's so rewatchable. It's something that you can easily watch with young family members, which I'm excited about. And it gives an awesome tease for the future of what's to come. I don't think you can ask for anything more in a series. Like if this, I know the numbers are down or whatever, and there's controversies all the time, but if you actually watch this show, like I don't understand how you could ask for anything else. This is what a great show from start to finish.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And I've heard a lot of kind of casual Marvel MCU fans just be like, "Oh no, I wasn't sure if I was going to hit this one." And we applauded, or not really applauded, but more just spoke on Marvel's ability with recently in Phase 4 to really contain the movies and the shows to the story they're trying to tell lately. And they're going to have their ensembles and their pieces that really expand and that you're going to need to know for connectivity, but for the most part, they've been pretty contained recently to their story. Well, folks, if you weren't planning on watching Ms. Marvel, you are going to have to tune in because it was an absolute blast, and it's going to be very important for the future of the MCU.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm always a big like implications guy. I want to know like how does this affect us? Like that's why I was disappointed by Eternals in my first viewing because I expected like more implications on the entirety of the MCU. Even a little bit of Multiverse of Madness. That's kind of how it was billed with, I guess, all the leaks and cameos and whatnot. But this is the most important series we've gotten yet.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think like Loki, WandaVision, and Ms. Marvel are the three that have kind of been groundbreaking in one way or another. And this one, I think, just took it to the new level with the mention of mutants. Jaden, you brought up you got 3 different videos coming to the Agents of Fandom YouTube page coming soon. What give us a tease? What do you got coming for us?
Yeah, so for the one, it was just the spoiler review. Then I have 2 more coming out. It's the ending for Miss Marvel finale explained and the post-credit scenes explained, where I go more in depth on that theory that I was kind of bringing up earlier. But yeah, just check those out. I really love the show, and I hope to, get back on the pod here eventually.
Heck yes, it's everybody gives us sass. Like, why am I not get on here enough? Lee gives us sass. Jaden gives us sass. Mo from Streamer gives us more sass than anyone combined. It's tough, guys. There's demand. We have a lot of fun here. People
and we want to hang out with all of you.
Exactly. It's tough. We try and give everybody a taste. Lee, it was so awesome to get you back on the pod again here. And it's even better now that we get to talk. We get to talk all the time. Tell us why is the team you drafted for Big Brother better than Garrett's?
Well, my big thing that my mom's out of town, so I'm getting all her clip jewelry. We won't. If you watch the episode, we have a challenge that we have to do, and I will crush you.
You will not crush me. You're gonna get crushed by Jewelry Crush. And it's gonna be double as embarrassing.
Oh yeah, we'll see. I'm practicing, man.
You're practicing.
In your house.
I have a lot of jewelry in my house. I got a girlfriend right there. I could put all the jewelry on if I wanted to. I didn't need to get this heated on a second podcast about it, but here we are. I'm not mad about it. I'm competitive. I got the fire, and you're going down. But I love you, but you're going down.
Oh, I love you too. And when you lick your wounds, I'll be kind. I really.
You won't kick me when I'm down. I appreciate that. A humble winner. Everyone appreciates that. I'm gonna win.
Yeah, and by the way, on our draft, TJ, you did realize that you and I have people that are nominated for eviction, so we're already kind of behind the 8 ball. But I think we'll be okay. Or I will be okay.
I know. And hey, I just want to say that, TJ, I told you the other day that I know your drafting strategies, and I kind of tossed the name out there. I thought this guy, he's going to be a real good contender. And you slurped him up from the draft pool, and guess what? He's on the chopping block. Oh, wow, buddy.
I could not be less worried about that. Our current head of household here, I got to be honest with you, Lee, I heavily disagree with your article. He's a clown. No. He's a clown.
I'm not a huge.
And here's why I'm going to tell you why. Quick ticket to reality tease for everyone, and then we got to keep the rest of the reality talk for that pod, of course. But here's the reason why. He was talking about the people volunteering to sleep in that crappy room, right? And he was like, "Oh, I had no idea they were doing that to gain my favor. Now that you've brought that to my attention." Of course they were doing it to gain your favor. They're not doing it because they enjoy sleeping on the ground. Like,
flop.
Like, yeah, like my mindset of that was like, yes, of course that is to get on my good side. I also do appreciate that because now I don't have to choose. So,
okay,
good work. Like,
good work. We'll see.
Good work. Thanks, guys. Like, he's a fool. He's a fool. So I'm not worried about my team yet. They're gonna come out strong, and make sure you check out the Ticket to Reality podcast. You get to hear Lee, myself, Garrett, our man Ethan from the 15 Minutes of Marvel and 24 Minutes of 824 pod, as well as Emma. She's hanging out in chat right now. And we've had some amazing guests so far, including Delisa and Trevor, the Saints, Jack Atkins, and Lee's cooking up some more fun ones in the future for us as well.
I am. And hearing back from some. So it's all good. It's going to be fun. Fun. And I'm going to win. That's all I got to say. Done.
We'll see.
So make sure you check out the Ticket to Reality pod and Agents of Fandom, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave the 5-star ratings. Leave us a nice review. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you follow. Make sure you're following on Twitch as well. Thank you. so much, everyone, for tuning in live. We got a lot of awesome stuff on the site coming up lately right now, and that's already up right now, including our interview with Bill Ratner, who voiced Flint from G.I. Joe, the animated movie and the series, and a whole bunch of other things. You've heard this man's voice before. He did the narration for the trailers for Ant-Man, a whole bunch of Will Ferrell and Mike Myers movies. Like, we're talking dozens and dozens of hit films. He sounds like this, and he does trailers, and he's a really, really nice guy.
That was really good.
Thank you so much.
That was pretty lit.
Thank you so much, and so make sure you check that out. It's on YouTube, and
He might
it's on the
have
podcast feed as well.
He might have done some stuff for Agents of Fandom as well. You have to see.
Cool.
Did some teases there. We have thank you so much to everyone who was with us live today. As we're getting out of here, we got our amazing man Brandon Moore, hashtag be more like Brandon, gifting subs here before we get out of here. So thank you so much, Brandon. You're all the best. We'll of course be interact with us on our socials on everywhere. TikTok and Instagram. We got a giveaway right now going for this Namor pop that I don't want to grab because then something will fall on me. Except Twitter, it's at Agents Fandom, and chat with us. That's how we know Brandon so well, is we just chat on Twitter all the time. And this went from a internet name that we recognize to a genuine good friend because he's the best human. So talk with us. We'd love to talk with you. Agents of Fandom, thank you so much for joining us on the pod today. We will be back next week talking a little She-Hulk, talking a little Ms. Marvel, and giving you some more updates on the future of what we have cooking here on Agents of Fandom. Garrett, we're also going to have a fun live stream going next weekend for San Diego Comic-Con in Hall H. Give us a little tease of what we got coming.
Yeah, so we're going to be giving our live reactions to the news that breaks, whatever big news that Marvel has, and we know that they are going to have some big ones. And we're going to be joined by a couple of Agents of Fandom, maybe a couple of industry friends that are going to be jumping in and out. And TJ and I are going to be giving you our live reactions pretty much the whole time. So we're excited about that.
And for the people like Lee and Jaden that are sitting there, and Mo, if he's watching, being like, why hasn't anybody asked me? We just Ruben thought of this amazing idea like an hour and a half ago. So that's why we're just still putting it together.
Yeah, I'll be watching it.
We don't plan things, we just do things. I don't know if you guys have figured that out yet about us, but it just happens.
It's called stumbling into success.
Yeah, we were recording the first episode for Ticket to Reality. TJ just goes, you know what? We're releasing July 4th, and then we just did it, and we were just stuck to that timeline. But that's how we do things here, and it's worked so far. So fuck it, we're gonna continue to do it. And I just said that.
We'll do it live. We did it live today. Thank you so much for joining us. That'll do it for this week's Agents of Fandom podcast. Peace.
Peace.